I am from Namibia. I work for an organization called NACSO, and NACSO supports conservancies. These are community-based organizations that work in community conservation in Namibia. So I'm the director of the organization. I also belong to the Community Leaders Network. So the network consists of members from different countries. For instance, I come from Namibia. Namibia has 86 conservancies, and those conservancies have a governance system within their own areas where they are coming from. Our conservancies, they are probably more than 300,000 plus people. So the 300,000 plus people will become automatically members of CLN, but because we cannot invite all of the 300,000, they have some form of a representation through their CBOs on CLN. So then we have 5 per country that will sit on what we call the executive committee of CLN. The frustration was very much from a rights-based issue. We feel conservation has not changed, that a lot of decisions are being made by external people and they impact a lot of the livelihoods of our communities. We also need to understand in rural Africa, a lot of these communities don't have any access to any technologies, especially communication. These are communities that are not on Twitter, they are not on Instagram. So it's very frustrating for us that we see conversations that are happening without them being accorded the opportunities to express themselves in terms of those impacts. We also found that there's just no respect for their rights. Nobody come around and say, do you agree if we make this decision and how is this going to impact you? Nobody cares. So access for me is a big issue, whether it's access to technology, whether it's access to resources. These communities are just being ignored. I think that's something that actually created the CLN to be amplifying those voices, but also to make sure that the livelihoods of these communities are being taken care of. A lot of the communities that we work with actually have very good relationships with their governments, and where there is no good relationships, we would like to also facilitate a process that they start taking into account some of these issues. And one of the things that we want to do is to encourage our members to become part of IUCN, because this is where a lot of decision makings are also done in terms of motions that really impact communities. So we would like to be part of that. And there is so many partnerships that we are also creating. We have realized that we would like to create partnerships with other communities, especially IPLCs in South America, in Europe. So there are people that have exactly the same challenges as we do in Africa, and we would like to continue and see whether we can create those partnerships, because we think our issues are exactly the same. It's just when we are united as indigenous people and local communities that we'll be able to address a lot of our shortcomings. It's not that we are starting from scratch. We have partnerships that we have created over the years as for us with our governments, with private sector, with researchers, and we would like to continue because we need to be informed by research. We cannot just exist in isolation. But we also want to create guidelines, and we are busy with that, and sign MOUs and agreements to be able to make sure there is no exploitation, that we have copyright on some of the information or data that will be collected on behalf of the communities, that the communities have given their consent, and that's the biggest one. So those are some of the sensitive issues. And it's also the reason why we formed the network, was to make sure that we protect and guide our communities not to be exploited by any other institution that has no that does not have the right mindset in terms of a conservation agenda for their communities.